Yeah, but Rabbi,
Was there any pushback from the Vad or any other Rabbanim on this?
I don't know. There is pushback, yes. What do you want, Harold? Harold, you saying something? Did he just leave?
I'll open it when you get it.
Mazel tov, Zevi Bald.
We lost him.
Oh, welcome back. He's there? Welcome back, Taka. Mazel tov.
Good, thank you.
Harold, were you saying something?
yeah, are they trustworthy, the rabbis?
I have no idea. You need a bunch of things. A, they need to be trustworthy. B, they need to know how to give a hashkacha. Right? It's two different things. I could be trustworthy let me just say it right now, okay? This is on recording, yeah? I could be trustworthy all you want. If I give a hashkacha to a restaurant, don't eat there, okay? Because I don't know what I'm doing. I give a hashkacha to one person, a private woman baking, and I'm piggybacking on a major hashkacha, and I go around there, but I don't know the blasted thing. Like I tell people, if I check your vegetables, do not eat those vegetables. All right? That's all.
Actually, I heard your wife says the same thing about trusting your hechsher.
100%. 100%. I one time told him.
He was joking. She really says it.
Usher in the kitchen. Something was not allowed to be done. She made a shechiyonu that she actually heard that there was something that was awesome. But anyways, okay, let's go. Yeah, so to Chazer. Let's Chazer from yesterday.
Wait, did I miss all the Lashon Hara?
What?
Did I miss all the Lashon Hara?
Yes,
Yeah,
you did.
show up on time.
Yeah. Sorry.
You'll have to get it in tomorrow's Chazara.
Some of it was recorded. So you can catch it on the
Yeah,
recording.
that's right.
I'll have to. Somebody will have to call me afterwards.
There you go. Okay, so Daf Yomi
Parents,
Shabbos.
restart the recording so he doesn't get it.
Anyways, but you know what, Naftali, you know what? You're going to get schar because not only do you come late for the learning, you come late for the Lashon Hara too. You're an equal opportunity.
True, that's true. It's not just because it's learning I come late. It's
correct. Yep. Okay, Kufchav Beis. Yeah, moving wagons on Shabbos, using wine with one. What is it called? What was it again? Using wine with one seal. I don't know why I wrote that. Right? That was just Agav. Then the Mishnah says a guy can't turn on the lights for a Yid, but if he turns it on for himself, then the Yid can benefit. Same with water for animals, same with making a plank for a boat. And we had the story with Rabbi Gamliel that he used the plank. And the Gemara says why we need all those three cases. And then a guy cut grass for the animal, the Yid can use the cut grass on Shabbos. And these cases are only talking about if the guy doesn't recognize the Yid. Right? Meaning if a guy knows that the Yid's standing there and he turns on the lights, then you can't benefit from it because we're assuming that the Yid, that he's doing it for the Yid. Then we said using a bathhouse in a city on Motzei Shabbos, when most of the city is Jewish, you're not allowed to. You have to give it enough time that they would heat the water after Shabbos. If it's half Jewish or most, and if it's half Jewish, the same thing. If it's mostly Goyim, then you would be allowed to use the hot water right away. Then the story with Shmuel and the guy turn on the light. That's the end of that parak. Then we start with the parak on muktza, right? So we said all utensils can be carried with their doors, and utensils that are muktza can be used for reasons that they're not intended for, which we're going to discuss tonight. And the Gemara says the doors of utensils can be moved even if they came off before Shabbos, meaning, right, you have a door of a, well, we didn't have exactly a good example of a door, but something became detached on Shabbos, so it's not a problem to use it. We definitely said that it's considered building if we attach something to a house or a fence, right? Meaning a door falls off of a house. You're not allowed to put the door back on Shabbos, and you're not even allowed to use the door on Shabbos because the door is muktza, because you didn't have any das in your head that you were going that door was falling off. Unless you have a yeshiva shador that always falls off, then maybe, right? And do we say this building on utensils that are detached from the ground or not? Right. So that's what we're holding. Okay, so by the two dots on Daf Kuf Chaf Beis Amud Beis. Yeah, Untitled Adam Kurnas. So we said a person could take a kurnas, right? So I'm going to review the kurnas shel agoizin. Yeah, everybody has it. Kurnas shel agoizin, right? The patzei abaya said agoizin. So a kurnas of agoizin, you could use it to bust open the walnuts, right? You want to crack open the nuts with it. So you could use this hammer to do that, even though that's not what the hammer is meant for. But if it's made from a nafach, then you can't. You know what's a nafach? Is a guy that literally means to blow. right? But it means a black. What is it called? Gershon, what do you say?
Blacksmith.
Blacksmith, right? So a blacksmith. Hold on. So that was a mosquito. Yeah, a blacksmith. You're not allowed to use a blacksmith. Why not? Right? Yeah. Well, so we'll see now. Something that it's malacha, what it's meant to do is isser. Then even if you're using it, tzarech gufay, by the way, doesn't mean for the needs of your body, right? That tzarech gufay means that the actual kli that you're using it for something. Meaning, what the Gemara is saying is you have a hammer that's meant to crack open nuts. So obviously you're allowed to use it to crack open nuts, right? But what happens if you have a hammer that's meant to be used by a blacksmith? There's no use for a blacksmith's hammer on Shabbos, correct? It's muktza. Question is, can you use that hammer for something that is allowed, like cracking nuts? So Rabbi Yehuda is saying you cannot use it for cracking nuts. Amrli Rabba, so Rabba said back to him, Elamiato, if that's the case, safe for the Katani, that's a reches, that's a malges. Lots of love the cotton, right? You can take the reches and the malges. Is what did we say they were yesterday? Reches is pitchfork, right? One was a pitchfork.
And one was a winnowing shovel thing.
A shovel. So, okay, whatever it is, something sharp. Loss is a love the cotton. So you could use it to pass food to a cotton if you can't reach him, right? Are these things meant to serve food to a cotton? These things are digging tools, right? Or tools for agriculture or whatever. That's what they're meant to do. So how could the Mishnah say that you're allowed to use it to give it to kids? That's not its intended use. The corners of nafachin, you can use it to bust open nuts. Okay, so he's disagreeing with Rabbi Yehuda. Kasavar, why? Because he holds davar shemalachta l'isur l'tzarech gufay mutter. A kli that shemalachta is l'isur, that its malach is normally done for isur, like any sort of tool, which is normally meant for gardening or for building, but you're allowed to use it for, if you're using it l'tzarech gufay, meaning for it itself, you're using that hammer to do something that's mutter, then it is mutter to take it. Okay, so what's the classic example of it? The classic example they do use is the hammer for nuts, right? The hammer.
So if you're using it,
yeah, go ahead.
So if you're using it for another thing that's also, which it wasn't made for, it also would not good.
What do you mean? You're doing something that's muktza on Shabbos?
Yeah, you're using it. It's muktza because usually the blacksmith uses it, but you use it for something else that's muktza, so it still remains muktza.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, it's muktza. So Eisvei Abaya and Rava, Abaya has the kasha to Rava, meducha, right? A meducha is a crusher. If it has garlic in it, then you're allowed to take it. Vim lav ein metaltal in it. If it doesn't have garlic in it, you're not allowed to take it. Now, a meducha is something that crushes things. That's also to do on Shabbos. You're not allowed to crush things on Shabbos, right? So we're saying, but if it has garlic in it, then you're allowed to move it, right? Why? Because the garlic is not muktza, and even though the crusher is muktza, but we're going to say that it takes the status of the garlic, so therefore it's allowed to be moved. But it's mashma if it doesn't have garlic in it, you're not allowed to do anything with it. What do you mean? It's kli shemalachti l'isur, and you're using it l'tzarech gufay. That goes according to Reb Nechemia. The Amar ain't klinita l'tzarech tashmishay. A kli can only be taken for what it's meant to be, meaning the thing that it's specific to it. Meaning a hammer, Reb Nechemia would agree. You could take a hammer to smash nuts because that's what a hammer is meant to do. It's supposed to smash things, right? But this crusher, for whatever reason that you're moving it, it can't be you're moving it to crush things because you're not allowed to crush things on Shabbos, right? So therefore, that's what that opinion is. So Eisvei, all right. So we'll read the parentheses just to get a picture of this. You're not allowed to take the. Let's talk about Yom Tif. That you're not allowed to take the like a mat or something like that. What do you call it? A cutting board? Yeah, to cut meat on it. Vasil Matin Vasil says in Motav Shavin, and they agree. She'im kotzav ala basar she'asal tatala. If you use it to cut meat on it, then it's also to take it, right? So what do you see? Meaning it's only because of Simchas Yom Tov he allowed it, right? So the Gemara is going to wants to answer Savar l'shnuye like Reb Nechemia. He wanted to answer like Reb Nechemia. They could only use it for the intended use. Even the Shamal Adamar Rab Chinan Bar Shalmi Mishmei the Rab Hakol Moed the Besichi Zairi Mazoiri the Kimin the Kapar allow you Meyachadu Makom. Everybody agrees by Sichi, Zairi, and Mazoiri. How do you touch that? Those are all things that are meant to for in the production of clothing, right? So since a person is miyachid in a makom, so this too is also miyachid. So this brings up a different concept of muktza, which is if that somebody is gonna keep something is so chashuv and important to him that he's gonna keep it in a specific place and he's never gonna move it other than its intended use, then you can't use it for anything because it's what do you call it? It's muktza machmas chesaron kiss. It's called. Yeah, it's something that's expensive, so therefore you don't want to take a loss. So you're only going to use it for its intended use. Meaning, so these things that are meant for clothing production, if you're going to start using them to bust open nuts or use it as a door stopper or whatever it is that you're going to use it for, you're going to end up breaking it. So therefore, you're very makbid not to use it other than its intended use, and therefore those are going to be muktza. Right? As an example, people ask, can they use a smartphone as an alarm clock on Shabbos? And then when the alarm goes off, can they take it out of the room? Right? Again, they shut the phone.
People ask that?
Sure.
You don't even have to do that. There are Shabbos alarm clocks that you can download on your phone that go off for 10 seconds at a time.
That's true, but I guess they're too cheap to buy it, right?
It's free.
Okay. So anyways, maybe they don't know about the apps or whatever it is. So, but that's what they ask. Or if they by mistake leave their smartphone on the bed or whatever, can they move it? Right? So now the question becomes, so it's a kli shemalachta le'isur, right?
So what would be the problem? They don't have a use. So I'm saying, why would it be a problem?
Well, it depends. It depends. If you treat your smartphone as an expensive thing and you don't let people play with it and you don't throw it around and you treat it sort of like the way you treat it on the first day you get it, right? So then that's like chesar and kiss. It's like these things that you don't ever play around with it, right? But if you give it to the kids to play with and they throw it around and you throw it down on the floor and you don't care and it's busted glass and all that, then you would be able to move it, right? It's not machmas chesar and kiss. It all depends on it's very subjective. It depends on the person, right? Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
No, I don't understand it. I'm saying if it's only muktza compared to what the use you're using it for. The item itself, if it has no purpose to you, why would it be muktza?
What do you mean? No, because there's such a concept that if you treat something as it's expensive and you would move it other than for its intended use, right? So
somebody has a fancy drill. They're not going to lend their drill out to somebody.
Correct. Or a fancy hammer.
Let's say a hammer was on the table.
Let's say a Miles knife, okay? Let's say a Miles knife. And you'd say you got no knife to cut up your meat. You go knock on the Miles door and say, can I borrow your knife to cut my meat? Do you really think he's going to lend it to you?
Right. Okay.
And if he does lend it to you, don't use that Mile. That goes under the same category as me giving a hechsher. Put him in the same category. Right?
Or the knife. Or the knife.
Or the knife, correct. Right? So anyway,
the knife itself is not muktza.
It is muktza.
Why? You want to use it to cut? You want to use it to cut your meat?
If something is expensive and you wouldn't use it, somebody's got to be muted. Yeah.
If I have an expensive watch and I don't use it.
No, expensive watch. It's meant to be worn on your hand and all that.
On Shabbos? Same thing.
No, a Miles knife is not a Miles knife. A Miles knife.
Not a Miles knife. It's not meant to cut your foot.
Okay, fine. It's a bad example, but I'm just saying. Let's say you had a hammer, and forget about not cracking nuts. Let's say a hammer, and you want to use it as a doorstop. Why would it be muktza?
Because you don't use it because you don't care about the hammer. But let's say it's a hammer. I don't know. Somebody's got some feedback somewhere. But let's say you have a hammer.
Landau, I'm gonna have to throw you off, Landau.
I'm not. There's nobody in this room. I don't got no feedback.
Oh, it's feedback from me. Somebody's on somebody's. No, now it's good, Peretz. Anyways, let's say a guy bought you a hammer, a 50th anniversary. I don't know, 50th anniversary hammer to celebrate carpenter's industry, something. You keep it on your mantle as like you're proud of it, right? And you're never going to lend out that hammer, right? So then that hammer is muktza. That hammer is muktza. Yes, right? That hammer is muktza. You can't use it, right? Yeah. Anyways, Lamashal, what do they say?
Can you designate, Siakov, can you designate something that's severely mundane like a hammer to be super special? You get a regular claw hammer, right? You go to Lowe's, you get a hammer for $4, but all of a sudden you've designated it as something special.
Yes, then you can't use it. You can't use it.
Huh.
Yeah. Then you wouldn't. That's exactly what the Gemara is saying here.
You get a kiddush cup from a dinner.
Correct. No, a kiddush cup is meant to be used, but it could be a kiddush cup. I'll tell you a different example. A picture hanging on the wall. That's something that you never move. So let's say it falls off the wall. Can you move it? You really can't move it because it was muktza, because it's never ever moved. Right? Anyways, fine. Okay, so we'll see more of this weiter, but that's the concept here. So it has to be, when we're saying a kli shemalachta l'isur, it has to be a kli that you don't mind handling for other things. So we're talking about a cornice of gold, right? Even though he's saying, even though you are a little bit makbid, that's what Rashi says, you're a little bit makbid on it, right? But since
it's a goldsmith's hammer.
Goldsmith's, right, a goldsmith's hammer, I'm sorry. That's a better way to touch it, thank you. Because they're more makbid on their hammer, but even so, since they use it to just bang down on metal, so therefore, you wouldn't mind banging down on nuts. We're talking about a cornice of psamim. Yeah, meaning, so it's like, I guess, a more what's the word? A more
Delicate.
Delicate, thank you. Right, more delicate hammer. So mandamar b'psamim kol shekein dezahavim. If you say psamim, then for sure the goldsmiths. Mandamar shel zahavim, but psamim kapar alayu, but psamim you would be makbid on because it's a little bit less. It's more fragile, so you'd be a little bit more makbid because you don't want to totally. When you're using this hammer, you don't want to. If it gets messed up because you're using it for something not for its intended use, you might actually end up damaging your spices. Okay, fine. Vesakush vesakarkar. Right. So we said that those are other types of types of needles. So you're using it to poke it into food. You're using it as a toothpick to pick your fruit. So talking about a paga, a turnip or a radish, shatimna b'tevin, b'charara shatimna b'gachalim. You have this turnip or radish that was hidden in straw, or a piece of cake that you hid inside coals, right? Or any type of food that's inside coals. If a little bit of it is sticking out of the top, then you're allowed to take it. But if it's not sticking out, then it's also to take. Now again, what's going on here is that you buried this radish inside straw. Straw is muktza, right? So if a little bit, you need to take the radish out. So you can't push away the straw to get to your radish. But if the radish is sticking a little bit out of the straw, so then you're allowed to pull up the straw, pull up the radish, even though the straw is going to move. Okay? So again, if it's buried, you're not allowed to move it. If it's not buried, then you are allowed to move it. Oh, you're moving muktza, but you're not moving muktza with your hands. You're moving your muktza through something else. What are you saying, Gershon?
Why is this a big chiddush? Tiltul muktzah kelach hayad is a chiddush?
Well, is it a chiddush? I mean, you got to teach it somewhere, no?
It's a d'Rabbanan kelach hayad. What should it be? All of a sudden, it should be a chiyuv misa? What?
No, nobody's saying it's a chiyuv misa.
No, I know, but of course it's mutter.
Why is it? Of course it's mutter. I bet you a lot of people would think that it's not mutter.
Kelach hayad on the deraisa makes it potter.
Right.
I think
because it's kilach on the Rabbanan, so it's mutter. Not everybody holds it.
I think you're mixing something up, though. It's saying it was already taken from the ground and then reburied. That's a way of preserving it. Meaning it's no longer taking nutrients from the ground. you've taken it, you've washed it, you've cut the greens off, and you've put it back into a sand or a pile or something like that. That's I think, I mean, that's where I at first.
Okay, but I think also this is not Rashinu. This is total min atzad, right? Because this would be no, it's not a difference. Different. There's not a shinui, meaning if you say this is the regular way to move the straws by pulling up the radish, that's a regular way of moving straws.
No, but again, you're not pulling up the radish as if it were still growing.
No, you're right. You're not detaching.
It's only a storage. It's the same way.
Right, you're not correct.
It's like if you have beer from the ground. It's like if you have a beer can in a cooler with ice.
Right. Correct. This is not detaching it from the ground. Thank you. That is not. It's talking about. So you're moving. So the point is that you're moving the muktza from the side. You're not actually actively moving the muktza with your hand. What you're allowed to do is you're allowed to stick the needle into it, like into the straw. You stick the needle through the straw, you get the radish, and you pull it up. And then they get shaken down by themselves. Remember the Savar of Nachman tiltum and atzad loishmei tiltul? You mean to say that Rav Nachman holds that tiltum and atzad is not considered tiltul? So this pugla is also a radish, right? It's detached, and you put it into the ground to preserve it, like Simon was saying. So milamala lamata shari, if the top part is sticking out, then you're allowed to move it. Mimata lamala also, but if the thin part of the radish is sticking up, then you're not allowed to. Right? Why? Because if the top part is sticking out, so then again it's thicker on the top and it gets thinner on the bottom. So when you pull it out, you're not moving any dirt. No dirt should be moved. All right? Meaning, again, when the top part, you picture a radish or a strawberry, right? The top part is wider and then it gets thinner. When you pull that out of the ground, you should be moving no dirt because the wider part is on the top. But if you buried the strawberry backwards and the thin part is on the top and the wide part is on the bottom, then when you pull that strawberry out of the dirt, right? Again, we're talking about where it's detached, like Simon was saying, where it's detached from the ground. When you pull it out of the dirt, you have to be moving dirt. Even though you're not moving it with your hand, but you're moving with the strawberry, which is moving it in. So that's tiltum and atzad. So Rav Nachman says you're not allowed to do that. So you see that he holds that you're not allowed to move muktza from the tzad. So the Gemara answers,
why isn't that a problem of chayrish? Zereya, chayrish.
Oh, it was in there already from before Shabbos.
No, but now that he's making a hole in the ground, that's
no, so I think the way I understand it is the hole was already there. The strawberry already made the hole.
But now he's enabled it to be used.
So I don't know if that's called. Is that called chayrish?
Lama lo. That's
because
the point.
Chayrish is you're digging a hole. This hole is already dug.
I mean, he kind of is. Before it was even. Now it's not.
I hear. I don't know. Maybe Taka, but clearly he doesn't have a problem with it. So he's only handling from the muktza part. He's only handling from the muktza part, right? So then Gemara answers, Rav Nachman changed his mind from that. He changed his mind. Therefore, he does hold that tiltum min atzad is allowed, which is, by the way, this is, in most cases, this is the way we paskin. That we don't mind if you move tiltum min atzad. This is the classic practical shaila of this is delivery of an electronic device comes to your house on Shabbos. And they leave it by the door. And everybody is scared now because you got all these guys stealing all the boxes. So they want to bring it into the house. So tiltum min atzad, the chayra should be okay. We'll have to discuss it more, but tiltum min atzad, meaning it's through a box, it's not through the muktza, and if you kick it, so you're not really moving the actual muktza, then it would be okay to kick it inside to the house. But the question is, what's the best way of doing it? We'll hold off till we do more muktza, but that would be a practical example.
Since you just gave that case, if I receive a letter on Shabbos, Lamashal in New York, can I take it for granted that it came from Chutz and Tchum on Friday already? And it just came from Toichat Tchum on Shabbos?
That's true, but anyways, it's not Negea anymore. It's not Negea anymore because we paskin that our postal people are not working for a yid. They're working for themselves, and we're not worried about the Tchum. So if UPS delivers something to you on Shabbos, you could open it on Shabbos if it's not muktza, because they're working for themselves. Meaning the case in Shulchan Aruch that says that you're not allowed to take something michutz tumah, that's talking about when it was a specific delivery for you. So the guy was working for you. Nowadays, they're not working for you. They could care less who you are. They have to do their job and drop off the packages. Okay. So machat shayad litova, right? So we said you're allowed to use a needle in order to take out a what do you call it? What's a piece of wood? Splinter. Thank you, Ma. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just to go back for 1 second about the Amazon box. What about mail? Can I open up mail?
Well, probably a lot of mail is muktza.
Why?
What? Most mail is muktza. What do you have?
A letter. I got a letter from Grandma.
Oh, so that gets back to what we discussed last week. Are letters allowed to be written?
And there's no check in there?
Yeah, man.
Not for my grandmother.
Yeah. Listen, it's easier to write a letter than to write a check, right? You know what I mean? But it gets into that nowadays. In the Shulchan Aruch's time, you're allowed to read a letter because you have no idea if there's important news in it. Right? Nowadays, we don't really have that heter. So, but what the place can say to do is you're not going to do this, but you have the mailman open the letter and then put it down on the table, and then you could then read it. Whatever it is, but theoretically, yes. Theoretically, you can have that. You could open that letter, yes, because we're not worried about the tchum issue.
Anyway. I was always taught that you get mail. If you don't want it to be stolen, you take it out of your mailbox and you set it aside, and then you wait until after Shabbos.
No, you can't. No, that's the old school. I mean, I guess you're the young school, right? I'm saying it didn't change since you were younger, but no, you can. If it's not muktza, you can. They had this child all the time. You know, you get a delivery. You shouldn't ask for them to deliver it on Shabbos. You get a delivery of clothing, right? Or the kids get a toy and they want to open it on Shabbos. You can. You're allowed to. Now, Bismana say you're allowed to. Now, whether it's Shabbos
or a couch. Or a couch.
There we go. Right. In middle of Shir once, I got a delivery of a couch on Shavuos. The guy brought the couch. Can I accept the delivery of it? So I said, I don't. He's here already. He's not. The guy doesn't want to come back another time. I could have refused delivery, but then he's going to be really upset. He's working for himself. It has nothing to do with me. It came from, I don't know where it came from. Whatever. Anyways.
It was Costco. Yes. What about NOLAD? NOLAD is not an issue?
Unless they detached something from the ground that day for you. You had a
no, isn't that by the newspaper, the NOLAD?
A NOLAD is from newspaper, right?
No,
it's the same thing. It's new to you.
Yeah. Some don't like the newspaper for NOLAD, but others say that the paper was there before. All it is writing on a paper. That's not anything, that's not much new. There's not much new there. So, different sugya. Anyways, let's continue with the muktza. Yes, so machat sheyad litova. Yes, so shalach le Rava berei the Rabba la Rav Yosef yilamdenu Rabbeinu machat shnitul charara ay ukza ma'u. So a needle that you took from it, the tip of the needle was removed. What's the din with that? Meaning this is a broken utensil. Amalei tenisua machat shel yad litova sakoitz. Right, the machat shel yad to take out a splinter. What does the splinter care whether this needle has a hole in it or not? Right, you know some needles have holes in it where you put the thread. Right, so we're trying. Gemara is asking. So what do you do with the needle that doesn't have the hole in it? Can you move it or not? If you're using it to take out a splinter, the splinter doesn't care if the needle has a hole in it or not. Right. So therefore, you should be able to move a needle even if it's not fully functioning. So Eisvei, they had a kasha on that. A needle that it took part of the end of the needle is tahara, meaning getting back to tumah and tahara, right? We said that a kli that gets broken loses its tumah status, right? A kli is tumah. A needle is tumah. Then you break off the end of it, so it's no longer tumah, right? It's tahara. So you see, it doesn't have a kli. So we're asking now. The Gemara is thinking because we could compare tumah and tahara to Shabbos. If it's not a kli for tumah and tahara, it's not a kli for Shabbos either. So Amar Abai says tumah Shabbos karamis. What are you asking from tumah to Shabbos? Tumah kli ma'isa b'ina. By tumah, it needs to be able to do something. It needs to be a kli ma'isa that you do something with it. In Shabbos, midi di chaze b'ina. V'hanami chaze. For Shabbos, All we need is that you have the ability to do something with it. And this could also, you could do something with it, right? This one you're able to take out a splinter from it. Okay, so Amar Rava, man the kamaisiv shaber kamaisiv. Rava says no. The one who asked the question asked a good question. If it's not a kli, mana is another word for a utensil. If they need tumah, it's not a utensil. They need Shabbos, it's also not a utensil. Fine. So meisvei machat, you have a needle, bein nekuva, bein shein nekuva, whether it has a hole in it, whether it doesn't have a hole in it. Motul l'tatul b'Shabbos. You're allowed to take it on Shabbos. V'lei omru nekuva elli tumah b'vad. And we only said that it has to have a hole in it. That's for tumah. Meaning, if it has a hole in it, it stays tumah. If it doesn't have a hole in it, it's tar. Right. So you see very clear that it makes a difference. So Tirgamai Abaya, leave it the Rava of the Gulmi Askinon. Right, we're talking about Gulmi. Right, it's hasn't been done yet. You're about to bust a hole in them. Right, so because sometimes you change your mind and you decide not to put the hole in it. And therefore, it's going to make it into a mana. But that it's missing the end of it, and meaning it was a needle once, and now it got broken off. That nobody will ever use. Meaning, he's saying that the brisa there that's talking about the tumah and tahara is talking about where the needle wasn't yet. They didn't yet pop the hole into the needle. So since they didn't yet pop the hole into the needle, so sometimes a guy will change his mind and maybe he'll decide not to pop the hole. But here we're talking about where it got broken. Once it gets broken, nobody does anything with the needle. So therefore, it's going to be taught. Okay. So asube yanuka, right? Asube yanuka. How do you, like sometimes when a baby is born, so its limbs are messed up from the trip out of the uterus. Right, out of the woman's body, so it can make the limbs a little messed up, so they have to be straightened out. So can you do that on Shabbos? So Asube Yanuka, Rav Nachman Asub, Rav Sheshes Shari. Rav Nachman says you're not allowed to do it. Rav Sheshes says it's mutter. Rav Nachman says, how do I know this? It's not. Ein oisen afik tvizin. Now we're back to refuah gemaras. Ein oisen afik tvizin b'Shabbos. You're not allowed to make this special drink on Shabbos that makes you throw up. All right. And it's not really a refuah necessarily. It's just supposed to clean out your system, right? So what do we want to see from there, right? Yeah. So what do you see? So therefore, this is also straightening out the limbs of the kid. That's not really doing anything to the kid. You're not actively doing anything to the kid. So Rav Sheshes Hasam lav orchei hacha orchei. Rav Sheshes, who says that it's mutter, right? I'm sorry. I said it the wrong way. Rav Nachman says you're not allowed to straighten the limbs out. Why not? Because just the same way you're not allowed to do a fik tvizin, right? Which is not a legitimate refuah, but you're still not allowed to do it. So same thing, you're not allowed to straighten out the limbs, even though that's not a legitimate refuah either. But Rav Sheshes, why does he say it's mutter? Hasam lav orchei hacha orchei, right? There, it's not the normal thing to take this afik tfizin drink to make you throw up or to clear out your system. That's not a normal thing to do. Here, it's a normal thing to do, is to straighten out the kid's limbs after he's born. So Amar Rav Sheshes minah the Tanan. How does Rav Sheshes know it's mutter? The Tanan machat shel yad. This is why this Gemara was brought down. Machat shel yad lito v'asakayitz. You're allowed to use a needle in order to take out a what do you call it? A splinter. Now, what are you doing with a splinter? Is you're fixing the person. So you see, fixing a person is not called refuah, and it's mutter on Shabbos. So what is Rav Nachman going to do with that? It says also hasam pocket hacha loy pocket, right? By the what do you call it? By the splinter, right? It's not attached to the person; it's just stuck inside. So you want to remove it, so that's where you're allowed to move it. But here, it's the kid's body. What you're doing is you're fixing, right? You're popping the bones back into place. So your mom is fixing the kid's body. So therefore, you'd have to wait till after Shabbos to do that.
Didn't we hold on the previous idea of refuah on Shabbos that if it's like an extreme thing, you take care of it, or if it's
Yeah, so obviously we're not talking about, it's not an extreme thing. I don't know exactly why it's not an extreme thing, but it's clearly not an extreme thing. I don't know why a kid's limbs at a place is not an extreme thing, but I guess it's not. I don't know. Yeah? Fine, okay. Kona shel zaysim, so literally means a reed of olives. So what they do is they would soak the olives, right? So if they wanted to check on how the olives are doing, so they would take this long stick and they would put it into the olives and pick some of them up so they could see what's going on with the olives. So that's what this, so what the question is, what's the story, what's the status of this stick? Right, so Kana shel zaysim yesh kesher b'roisha mekabel tumah. If it has like a little piece at the end where you can actually pick up, I don't know exactly, maybe it looks like a golf club or something, right? It's got a long stick, and at the end of it, it's got a little thing sticking out. What's the problem?
Knot, no? Isn't it
It's
the
a
knot
knot,
of the
so
bamboo?
meaning it gets a little thicker.
So it closes it off.
What?
It closes off. The reed is hollow, so the knot is where it's not hollow. So
Right.
if it has a knot there, the whole reed can hold.
It becomes a cleat. So I guess it makes it look right. So
Not
it makes
because the reed itself can hold oil. It's hollow. So there's a knot there.
Correct. No, right, yeah. So im yesh kesher b'roisha mekabel tumah. Literally, the translation is it has a knot there, right? But it's stuffed up. Really, as Rashi says at Pekach, yeah. Mekabel tumah vim lav ein mekabel tumah. Ben kach or ben kach nidl b'Shabbos. But either way, either if it has it, it doesn't have it, you're allowed to take it on Shabbos. Amai, so the Gemara asks, Amai pshute kli eitzu, pshute kli it's ena mekabel tumah. Why is it not? Why is it tumah? It's considered pshute kli eitz. It's just one straight piece of wood, and we know that a straight wood is not makabel tumah. My time of doing the sack be'inan, because you need it to be similar to a sack, right? Which in just like a sack it's only functioning if it carries things. So too, wood can only function as something tumah if it can carry things. No, so this does enable you to use it to hold something, because when you're flipping around the olives inside where they're soaking, so you can flip over olives and look at them. So therefore, this does have a way of retaining something. It's not just considered a straight piece of wood. All right, Zok the Mishnah. Rabbi Yosi, I'm a kol kelim nitlin. You're allowed to take any sort of kelim, chutz min hameser agadol v'yosit shel machrisha, except for a large knife, right, which you use to cut down beams, like big pieces of wood, and a yosit shel machrisha is a nail that's part of a plow, right? Right, it's like a sharp knife that they put on a plow and they use it. Those are the only two things that are also to move on Shabbos. According to Yosi, everything else is mutter. So Amar Rav Nachman, Hai uchlut dekatzri, ki yasid shel machresha dami. This uchlut dekatzri is like it's like how do you call it? A sifter, right? Basically, it's a sifter. What they, for some reason, in their the way they did the laundry is that they used it to like sprinkle water or detergent, whatever kind of detergent they had, on clothing. So it was an expensive piece, right? Why are these two things in the Mishnah muktza? Because you wouldn't use them other than for its intended use. So Rav Nachman is saying this ochel dekatzi is also, has the same din as the nail that's part of the plow, and therefore it's also muktza. So Amar Abaya, charba de ushkefi v'sakina de shtakavta v'chatzina de nagri ki yasef shel machrisha dami. Right. So he also says different types of, these are all different types of knives for different professions, right? Butchers and clothing for leather and all that. So therefore, it's the same thing. Since nobody would ever use these knives, like we were saying with the Miles knife, since nobody would ever use these knives for anything else, so therefore they're going to always remain muktza. Now, this next few lines is very important to the history of knowing what went on with muktza, and it's very interesting Rashi here. Torah Rabbana, Bereshina in the beginning, right? There's only 3 utensils that it could be carried on Shabbos. Muktza shel dvela, that knife to cut up the cake of figs. v'zuama, shel dvela v'zuama, of a dvela v'zuama, yeah, listerin shel kedera, and a listerin. How do you touch a listerin? How do they touch that?
Ladle, a ladle.
I'm sorry. What?
A ladle used for skimming foam
I'm
off
sorry,
Oh.
a pot.
I read it again wrong. Miktza shel dvela, period. The zuama listerin, because Rashi doesn't have a vav. Zuama listerin is the ladle to take off the foam from food, right? And sakin katana shel gabi shulchan. That's a small knife that you keep on the table, right? A regular knife you keep on the table. Those are the three kalim that are allowed, that were allowed at the beginning. Tiru, b'chazir, tiru, b'chazir, tiru. Then they will matter things. Then they went back and they will matter more things. And then they went back and they will matter more things. So basically, in most of the time, the way Gezer the Rabbanans work is first they make something usher, then they say, oh, we got to make it more usher, then more usher, then more usher, right? Muktza went the opposite. Muktza is they made everything usher, then they made it mutter, mutter, mutter. They kept backtracking on their Gezer, right? Where's the Rashi? Yeah, if you look at the Rashi and the third wide line down, right, just the Kedai Rashi to see. The third wide line down is Rashi. It says Hitiru, right? They mattered it. Oid kisharo shechazru lizar ketzas be'isur Shabbos. When the Chacham saw that people started keeping Shabbos better, they backtracked on their gezeros, right? V'chazru v'tiru kishenizru yosi. And then when they saw the Klai Yisrael is getting even frummer, and they're getting more makban on Shabbos, then they mattered even more. V'chazru v'tiru, right? What are all these things? But that's essentially what happened. The Chachamim felt that they needed to strengthen Shmira Shabbos, right?
Gotta learn the first chazru ve'etiru.
Yeah.
Rashi says hizaru ktsas.
Ktsas. No, that's what it was. So then they made a big.
They were a little bit careful with Shabbos.
Correct, and then they started behaving themselves. Klai Yisrael started behaving them. They made this big gezerah to make things muktza. Muktza is not deraisa, right? There's not one of the lamates malachas. There's no one of the 39 malachas that says muktza, right? Right, and muktza, by the way, is defined as moving things. Unfortunately, I don't know, it's unfortunate, but the world thinks that anything usher on Shabbos is muktza, right? Like, oh, you're not allowed to cook. You're not allowed to cook. It's muktza to cook, right? That's not, muktza means you're not allowed to move things on Shabbos, right? So basically, it was a gezerah d'Rabbanan to enhance Shmira Shabbos, the watching of Shabbos. So they made the gezerah, but then Rashi says, and that's what the Gemara means, as Klai Yisrael started keeping Shabbos better and better, they were able to roll back on the, right, sort of like, gatherings of 10 and gatherings of 15. If the island behaves themselves, you know what I mean? So then they could allow bigger and bigger gatherings. You stop behaving yourself, they take it back, right? So that's basically what's going on here, right? So Amru Kala Kalim Nitim b'Shabbos, they kept backtracking on the Gezerah until they said all Kalim could be taken on Shabbos, except for the two that are listed in our Mishnah, which is the large knife and the nail from the plow. My hitiru v'chazru v'tiru. I'm losing track. My hitiru v'chazru v'tiru v'chazru v'tiru. What is that? So for that already we have a machlokes what it is. So Amud Abaya, hitiru davar shemalachti leheter. They allowed something it's malachas leheter. Let's say what's a malachti leheter? A fork, knife, spoon, and choose. That's not a good example because the Mishnah Berurah says that we're not talking about utensils meant for eating. Let's talk about a chair. Yeah, a chair. A chair is a malachti leheter. It's a kli whose you can use it on Shabbos, right? So etiru davar shemalachti leheter l'tzayir of kufa. Meaning you can use a chair to sit on, but you cannot use a chair to keep the door open, right? V'chazru v'etiru davar shemalachti leheter l'tzayir of mekayma. Then they allowed you to even move a chair, not only to sit on it, but to keep the door open. Then they allowed even to move something for isser, like a hammer. They allowed you to move it, but only if you need the hammer. You can't just move the hammer. Only if you need the hammer to break open your nuts. Right, again, to move it for itself, yes, but for its space, no. Meaning if you left the hammer on the dining room table, right, and your wife wants to get it off for the Suda, you would not be able to move it, right? That they never allowed, according to Abaya. But still, they only said you're allowed to move with one hand, you can't use two hands. Until they said, no, you can use all kalim even with two hands. Amalei Rava. So Rava doesn't like Abaya's version of how it went down. Michti hetiru katani. They said they allowed it. How come you differentiate between using? They allowed you to move it like the hammer to bust up the nuts, or that I'm sorry, let's use the chair. To use the chair to sit on, or to use the chair to hold open the door. What should be the difference? Elo Marava, and this is the way we pass it. They allowed something that was used for heter, like a chair. That they allowed, whether it's for your guf or whether it's for your makom. Then they allowed you to move the chair. Let's say you left your chair outside. It's going to rain on your chair, and it's going to get ruined. So then they let you, or the sun is going to ruin it. So then they even allowed you to move it from the sun to the shade, which is really not a need for you for Shabbos. That's just to save the chair. That's a big chiddush that they allowed that. Then they even allowed you to move a hammer. Whether you need the hammer or whether you left it on the table, you need its place. They allowed that, right? But I'm sorry, again, but if you left your hammer in your yard and it's about to rain and it's going to get rusty and destroyed, that you are not allowed to do. Still, you will be allowed to move it with one person, but two people not. Till they said all kelim were taken on Shabbos, even with two people. Okay, so I guess it's late, so we'll stop there. But basically, what to take out, an interesting chiddush to take out of this, what I think people are not aware of, is that everything is muktza, right? A chair, let's say, right? A chair is muktza. It's considered a kli shemalachti leheter. But let's say I decide that I want to move this chair for absolutely no reason. I have no reason to move this chair whatsoever. I just want to move it because I want to move it. You're not allowed to move it on Shabbos. Okay, I don't know what the scenario would be, because let's say you have nerves and you decide, you know what, this chair in this area is making me nervous. I want to move it. So that's a reason. But stam to just walk over the chairs and move them.
I mean, let's say you're cleaning up. You're cleaning up your backyard.
No, that's a good reason. That's a good reason. That would be a good reason. But let's say I'm looking at this chair and I say, you know what? I just want to move this chair. That's also to do. You're not allowed to move the chair. It's muktza. Everything is muktza. Every single thing is muktza. It comes out, right? That's the way it was before they made these gezeras. Every single thing was muktza.
Are people muktza?
Are people muktza?
If you want to hit your son for no reason.
See, that's the thing. You're allowed to touch muktza. You're just only not allowed to move it. So
that's a deraisa anyway.
If you don't hit him hard that he doesn't move his head, then maybe, right? But if you bounce
it's a deraisa.
What's a deraisa?
Hitting a kid for no reason.
The chi of chinuch. No, he's got a good reason.
Oh, I thought he said for no reason.
Oh, I don't know if you should do that.
Aaron, what did you say? Hitting your kid for what?
I said no. I said for no.
For no reason.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's multiple is a deraisa.
Forget about muktza. If he gives you Einik Shabbos.
But we're talking about muktza now. We're not talking about the other isurim.
Nobody, right? We're just muktza. So I think a person. I don't know if a person is muktza.
Let's say a baby. Let's find a more practical one here.
Why is it more?
What's
wrong? Why is it more practical?
Because there's always a reason to hit your kid.
Because you don't have kids living at home anymore.
There's always a reason to hit your kid. The question is, there's never no reason.
Listen, the question is how many times the kids want to really hit the parents. That's really the...
Well, if someone dies, you can put the baby on top of them. So, no, we've already answered.
You're not going to get over that one. Yeah, Simon, we haven't heard you discuss that one in like a month. That's pretty good.
You're welcome.
Anyways, we'll continue this tomorrow, but it's a very
What's
interesting...
What's with Adam Neisei Satzmai?
Yeah, but otherwise I have to do a muktza.
Well, if it's muktza anyway, there's no point in saying Adam Neisei Satzmai.
Oh, you mean if it's muktza, you don't have to... here.
Your stomach, they can't move him.
Right.
You okay? Or should I do more?
I hear. Anyways, all right, I got it down, Myra. All right, good night, everybody.
Yashikaya, good night.
Look at that.